are back. Let's go ahead and get into this bad boy with our next topic. We are going to be talking about the Dead by Daylight movie that's being in development. I am really interested to see what they're going to do with this because they're doing better and better with video game adapted films, and this one isn't exactly. This one isn't going to be like Tomb Raider. This one ain't going to be like Sonic the Hedgehog. This isn't going to be like Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter or Dead or Alive or Uncharted. This is going to be a whole thing in itself because Dead by Daylight is one of those games that it doesn't. It's fun. It's one of those games that is fun because of the multiplayer aspect, not necessarily because of how deep the story and gameplay is. Now, I'm not to say it's not doesn't have good gameplay, but there's a difference between playing this game and playing like Horizon Zero Dawn, Ghost of Tsushima, Tomb Raider. It's an arena game, which doesn't make it automatically bad. It's just a different type of game. But Dead by Daylight in itself actually is a pretty interesting idea. Now, I'm going to say this. This is just basically a better version of the Friday the 13th video game because that game came out before, and due to just bad decisions, bad programming, just bad a lot of things, the game during its initial launch was good, but then it quickly fell off, which is the reason why that game isn't being played now, but Dead by Daylight is. They took the formula and did it better, and it did it better in terms of gameplay and diversity of gameplay, which is why with all of these villains that you see that are in the game. Now, I've played Dead by Daylight. I have enjoyed it. It's definitely a bit funner with people that you know because y'all can team up, do strategies and stuff like that. And I do think that the lore is pretty interesting. It features some mainstream villains and creatures and stuff like that, while also coming with their own original ones, which I've always appreciated. Stuff like that. That's why I like Resident Evil. That's why I like Silent Hill, because they do have their own original villains and villain creatures and super villains and stuff like that, to antagonistic forces that are within the game. Like I said, the game itself has an interesting idea, and this would definitely be a movie that I think could actually work. But I could also see a lot of why it wouldn't work, because a film, Dead by Daylight has a very B movie feel to it, which was featured in the Friday the 13th. And if you look at the Friday the 13th films, they're all really B movies. And it's, the premise itself of these people having to try to get evade and to escape a killer, whether that killer is human, superhuman, or just a monster or a ghost, or just some malevolent force that just wants to kill them. What kind of worries me about Dead by Daylight is I think that to transition over into live action or film like that, I think it couldn't just rely on that formula, because in the game you're the character, so you don't want the killer to kill you. But if you're watching the film, you gotta want to care about the characters. Unfortunately, in the game, they don't give you time. They don't give you the ability to care about the characters like that. Yes, you might read up on some bios, but it's the difference between playing a Walking Dead game and then just turn around playing something like this. Because at least in the Walking Dead game, you get to know the characters, you get to care about the characters, you get to work with the characters. And then this one, which is one of the problems with games like this, is like if you're going to make a transition of this to the movie, you actually have to make the people care about the characters. And it'd be cool for them, and that's one of the things I love about media like this, because I like fiction, because I like seeing normal humans deal with situations like this. And when they do overcome them, and I think I speak for a lot of people too, when you see regular humans overcome these situations, these type of antagonistic forces, it gives you a different perspective of the human ingenuity, resourcefulness, cleverness, intelligence, perseverance. it spotlights those things, and it's and in the gameplay you can kind of see that too, be how players team up, making these very I don't know elaborate plans to get themselves out there working together against these forces, or particularly against the character that's trying to kill them. But how would that actually transition well over into the movies? Would they give us time to actually learn about the characters? Because situations like this, like I would say, like Friday the 13th, is close to this. Basically, Friday the 13th films is basically Dead by Daylight, if you want to go by that route. The people running around Camp Crystal Lake is the playground, so Jason is doing his thing. But will we care about the characters? I think that'll be the biggest problem I have with this film. Is will they give us enough time to care about the characters, to root for the characters and not the creatures? I mean, it'd be nice to see the creatures, but you want the characters to survive. So, are they going to go the B movie route with it? I think I did read something about that. It's going to have somewhat. It's like somewhat harkening back to some of the B movies, which isn't a bad thing. But the B movies have a lot of problems, and if you want this movie to be successful, you can't really replicate those problems. So my thing is, are they going to do the characters justice? Are they going to be characters from the games and they're just going to flesh them out a bit more, or are they going to be original characters? It's just like watching Saw. A lot of times you sit here and you watch a Saw, you really don't get the crux of who these characters are until well into the games have already started. Then which pretty much Saw makes everybody seem like a piece of crap, even though and the characters do tend to make dumb decisions, which I hope this film doesn't do that. So let's get into a bit more detail. The game company that developed Dead by Daylight is going to be reportedly collaborating with Atomic Monster and Blumhouse. Now, those who don't know, Atomic Monster was created by James Wan, who did a lot of really good work, specifically in horror. Some of his more notable projects have been, he directed Malignant, Dead Silence, which I did like Dead Silence. I hadn't seen Malignant yet, but I've seen some stuff on the internet. It's really cool. Some of the Saw films. He did he did Insidious, and he's also done The Conjuring. So James Wan is not a stranger to horror. And then Blumhouse, of course, Blumhouse has done horror. Happy Death Day, which I really enjoyed. The Purge, I thought was okay. Characters just making dumb decisions. Get Out, good film. Not saying they produced it, but they had some involvement in the development of it. The Black Phone, which I really enjoyed, and the Invisible Man, which another one I really enjoyed. So right now, the people that are behind this movie being developed actually have got a lot of good talent around them. Blumhouse, which sometimes they're a bit hit and miss, but for the most part, like their stuff. And James Wan being on the scene with Atomic Monster, I don't think they can go wrong. I mean, I'm sure they can, but this is just too much good talent around them to make just a bad movie overall. So Dead by Daylight is one of them. Dead by Daylight at this point is like Five Nights at Freddy. I'm interested to see what they're going to do with it. I'm interested to see if they got the chops, the talent, to make a good quality horror movie based on the game and make it actually pretty cool. So I'm for Dead by Daylight, I'm interested. I'm actually pretty interested. Now, I don't know the characters like that, the villains like that in the game, so I can't be like, well, I want to see the nurse. I mean, I know, I got the name The Nurse, but because it's called The Nurse, and I'm not sure if that's the nurse originally for the game or the nurse that's from Silent Hill. I'm not sure. But like I said, I played it, but I'm not like a huge fan, so I don't know all of the creatures. I don't even know most of them. Usually I would actually sit down and read their bios and stuff like that. And I did a while back, but I don't remember. So we'll just see what they got. When they drop some more news about who they got cast to direct it, what creatures or killers they're going to have, we'll come back. We'll circle back and we'll talk about it.